Witam Was bardzo serdecznie, z tej strony Runiczny i dziś chciałbym Was zaprosić na następny odcinek z The Dwarves. A w dzisiejszym odcinku udamy się w dalszą przygodę. Ostatnio z tymi orkami sobie nie poradziliśmy w Goodwater, ale może tu będą ci łatwiejsi. Spróbujemy.
You approach Scalebrook through its expansive fields and spot smoke rising up into the sky. A short while later, you can hear the cries of battle, and finally you can smell the tallow on the orc's armor. Scalebrook is at war.
Dobra, postaramy się, może tym razem nam się uda. Zobaczmy. Ty. Aha. Damy ci to. A co to daje? Niech będzie. I tobie to. Rozpocznij. Dobra.
End it. Huh? What is it?
Dobra.
Yes? Say
A ty tu.
goodbye forever.
A jedynka tu.
And what now?
Ty tu.
Sir?
Dwójeczką.
Huh?
A tu. Dobra, spróbujemy jedynką.
Attack! Huh? Pow! Another one bites the dust. Yes? What is it?
A tobie jak idzie?
Look for you. Too easy. Say goodbye forever.
Ups.
All right. With pleasure. Who's next?
Find somewhere safe to hide. We'll come back for you once we've saved the other villagers.
Oh, what bad luck for you! What is it? Ha ha!
Uh-huh.
Aha, ci się skończyli, dobra. A nie, jest tu jeszcze jakiś.
I didn't hit you very hard. Huh? On my way. Huh?
Dobra, biegnij tam. A ty sobie tutaj poradzisz.
And what now? Of course. I didn't hit you very hard.
O, tych na górze trzeba rozwalić.
I'm with you, vile creature. What is it? With pleasure.
Co jest?
That's it. They're fleeing. I don't think so. They're just rallying.
And that's what we should do too. Come on.
Thank you so much. You saved us.
Not yet. The orcs are rallying. You must join us.
But we can't.
You must. Here they come.
Wybij wszystkich orków, 25. Dobra.
Huh? As good as done.
Dobra, jak to robimy? Ty. Skocz sobie tutaj.
Yes?
Ty po prostu szarżuj tu. A ty szarżuj tu po prostu.
For Vrakas!
And what now? Huh?
Huh?
Yeah! I didn't hit you very hard. What is it?
Yes?
No bez przesady.
Too easy. Attack! Yes? With pleasure. On my way. All right.
Ups.
What is it?
Huh?
Yeah. And what now?
Ups.
He cheated.
O, nie przegrałem.
Yes?
End it. Yeah. Huh? On my way.
Mogę cię jakoś podnieść?
That one's too easy. Another one bites the
Nie mogę.
Understood.
too easy. Yeah.
Pavrakas!
Mam nadzieję, że ja go nie stracę.
What is it? As good as done. I didn't hit you very hard.
Vile creature!
As good as done.
Yes?
Yeah.
End it! Attack! Pavrakas!
F3. Ty. Właśnie tutaj.
Say goodbye forever. Oh, what bad luck for you!
Uh-huh. End it! At once. Attack!
I didn't hit you very hard. What is it?
Jak już cię zabili? Tak. Dobra. O! Chodź tutaj.
On my way.
Huh?
Co jest? Chyba 25 zabiłem.
While Boindale still hunts the last of the orcs through the alleyways of the village, you and Boendal are already helping search for survivors. Various villagers, all with shocked, ashen faces, come and thank you for saving them. A middle-aged man nervously steps from one foot to the other and tries to force a smile.
My father, the village elder, he is dead. I think I must follow in his footsteps, so I thank you in the name of Scalebrook. He left behind some gold as a dowry for my sister. She's...
The man bows his head, produces a leather pouch, and kneads it with trembling hands.
If only you'd come earlier.
But before you can reply, the man takes a deep breath and forces himself to look at you.
What am I saying? How ungrateful. Thanks to you, many of us are still alive. My daughter may be able to marry one day, thanks to your bravery.
The man hesitates briefly, then thrusts the leather pouch towards you. You accept the reward with a small...
We will bury our dead and rebuild the village. Life goes on, thanks to you, noble gentleman.
No, żyje. No, 18 złota, ale... A nie, 9 racji dostaliśmy, okej. Na 99 dni starczy, dobra. Co teraz? Może do tego pytajnika pójdziemy sobie.
By the evening campfire, Boindale rummages around in his rucksack and pulls out a cheese wrapped in a cloth. He sticks a fist-sized piece on a spit and grills it on the fire.
Ah, there's nothing better than grilled cheese at the end of a long day.
The smell it gives off makes you hold your breath.
Oh, it smells like my socks after weeks of marching in my boots.
Oh, Oh, picky, are you? Hardly surprising, considering you were brought up by humans. It's ruined your taste.
Boindil holds the stinky cheese at the end of the stick under your nose.
Eat, and stop complaining.
You pull the warm piece of cheese from the stick. It tastes dreadful. Your fingers will smell of it for the next few days, and probably your mouth will too.
Dobra.
While taking a rest, you see a cart trundling along the road not far away from you. A young couple are sitting on the box seat, clearly in love and more interested in each other than the rest of the world around them. The sight reminds you of a long unanswered question.
So, I was wondering, what do female dwarves look like?
Pretty. Very pretty.
Uh-huh.
You were expecting a little more information.
Do they have beards?
No, I would say it's more like fluff. Oh, very attractive.
And what do they do? I mean, are they warriors too?
In our kingdom, most take care of domestic life. They take the animals down to the meadows in the valleys, make sure the larders are full and that there's plenty of good beer, and make our clothes. It only ever causes problems when men and women stand shoulder to shoulder in battle. Some of them are talented stonemasons and smiths, and beware of insulting their skills. They are no less proud than we are.
Ciekawostka. Czyli nie brody, a puch. No to interesujące.
Once again, you reach the crossroads and the Stone Sheep Tavern. In the tavern, there are half a dozen people sitting at the tables, and just as many at the bar, clearly farmers and labourers from the surrounding villages. Boindil pays no attention to the other guests and trudges over to a table. Together with his brother, you follow him and sit down. The landlord comes out from behind the bar.
Pokaż towary. Jedzonko sobie kupimy. I może miksturę leczniczą. Mamy coś do sprzedania? Miksturę ochrony, to mi raczej się nie przyda. Potwierdź. Nocleg, o.
We're tired and long.
Of course, gentlemen.
Okej, zobaczymy tego. To jest krasnoludzki kupiec. O, nie uciekaj. No nic.
You arrive at a small, bustling village. One thing is clearly missing from the lively scene. The sound of metal on metal from the village smithy that would normally be heard above everything else at this time of day. A dour, grim-looking man is sitting in front of the forge with his right arm in a sling. His expression brightens as he sees you. The man's expression is somewhere between desperation and hope. As you don't answer immediately, he continues.
You will, of course, be royally rewarded for your work. I can offer you 100...
What happened to your...
A stupid accident. A box of blanks fell down. I was trying to catch it. It will heal, fortunately, but I won't be able to wield my hammer for a while.
You must have quite a backlog of work.
You nod sympathetically. You always felt bad if you were ill or couldn't work in the forge for some reason or other.
Loads. But if what I hear about the metalworking skills of the dwarves is true, it will be easy for you to manage it in a...
No ba. Pomożemy mu.
I worked in a forge for a while.
You modestly conceal that in this case, a while means almost a whole human lifetime. A little later, you are standing in the workshop, examining the smith's inferior tools, while he fires up the forge and prepares everything for the job, as well as he can, with just one good arm. You weren't able to persuade the twins to help you. As warriors, they'd rather go hunting, Boindil declared. But you think it's more probable that you'll find them drinking beer. but you don't care. You're excited about being able to smith again after such a long time. Hours later, you have forgotten everything around you. The heat of the forge, the sweat on your warm skin, the play of the flames. You're in your element and work as if in a trance. The smith left the workshop ages ago with a satisfied grin on his face.
Wait, I'm talking to you.
You look up in surprise. Everything but the beating of the hammer had ceased to exist, and you didn't notice that someone has come in.
Can you do it?
You immediately dislike the middle-aged man. He sounds you out so doggedly with his light grey eyes that it feels as though he wants to look right through you and into your deepest thoughts. The man points to 2 horses.
Those 2 in 1 hour.
Myślę, że możemy
Do you need
pomóc.
shoeing? Oh, no problem.
The man doesn't look convinced, but you get to work with confidence after examining the horses' hooves. 2 more armed men are standing next to the horses, sizing you up.
Porozmawiamy.
So, you're mercenaries, I take it?
You're only trying to engage in conversation, but the man looks at you incredulously, as if he didn't expect dwarves to be able to talk.
Something like that.
Got lots of work? Oh, do you know anything about the armies of orcs from the south?
We can't complain.
The man's tone makes it clear that the conversation has ended here. You carry out the work in silence. As the leader of the mercenaries pays you, you have the feeling that he is trying to transfix you with his eyes. The men leave the workshop without a word.
Dobra, skupmy się na pozostałych zadaniach.
You ignore the horsemen and concentrate on your work. When you tell the twins about your visitors later on, they know exactly who you're talking about. They encountered them on the way back from hunting. You spend the night in the smith's house and continue on your way, with your well-earned
Ciekawe.
reward the next morning.
Krasnoludzki kupiec tutaj przyszedł. Ciekawe.
In the early evening, you make an unusual discovery on the side of the road. A colourful trader's wagon has been carelessly abandoned, with not a soul in sight.
I don't like the look of this one bit, Boindil. You take a look around there, I'll stay on this side. Tungdil, you check the surrounding area, and be careful.
Zbadaj
You
otoczenie.
scan the road and the woods on both sides. Apart from the twins who are fighting their way through the undergrowth within earshot, you can't hear or see anyone.
Zbadajmy wóz.
The wagon itself isn't damaged, nor is the drawbar. But the belts and leashes that normally hold the draft animals have been cut clean through. You can see a lot of tracks in the mud around the wagon. Hoof prints and footprints from humans in heavy boots. At least half a dozen long ones must have approached the wagon from the woods on both sides. The dwindling daylight provides little light inside the wagon. It smells of leather, spices, and candles. And there's another smell in the air, which you can't quite place. It reminds you of your forge in Lot Yonan's vaults, but different. It is messy, but no more so than you would expect from a single dwarf. The bed is rumpled, and there are tools and leftover materials piled up on the little workbench. There are several cupboards hanging on the right-hand wall. At the end of the wagon, there's a large wardrobe, and next to the door on the left is a heavy wooden chest with rusty metal hinges.
Zbadajmy szafki.
The smaller cupboards are piled high with a multitude of tins and boxes, all filled with odds and ends that the trader offered for sale to customers on his trips. Nothing of real interest.
Dobra, sprawdźmy szafę.
You reach for the knob of the wardrobe, and then stop. The rug in front of the wardrobe squelches as you step on it, as if you had stepped in a puddle. You try to work out what has soaked the rug, when suddenly the door of the wardrobe springs open and something bounces into you. You take a
Oops.
step back, and the realization of what hit you makes you take 2 more. Lying on the floor in front of you is the body of a dwarf, headless. His
U,
head has been cut clean from his neck. The dwarf is wearing clothes that look more like human robes and bears no coat of arms that would identify his kingdom. You didn't know him, but no one deserves to die like this.
no nie.
His head is being cut off cleanly, probably with a sharp blade. A quick glance in the wardrobe confirms what you already suspect. The dwarf's head is nowhere to be seen. As you try to lift the lid of the chest, you realize that the lock has been broken out of the wood. You open the lid and look inside. Amongst clothes and some empty boxes, you find a loot case and a beautiful loot of the kind that humans build, as well as a bag of bread and cured
O,
meat.
jedzonko.
You
Zabierz
take the
jedzenie.
bread and the cured meat.
A
You
weźmy
take the
lutnię.
loot. You can't play, but an instrument.
Dobra.
You give a short, sharp whistle, and the twins come running at the double. You tell them what you found.
A group of horsemen with heavy boots has been here. I found Mort in the wagon, beheaded. I have a hunch that the mercenaries from Fallow Rock have something to do with this.
Wretched dwarf killers!
You can tell that Boindil wants revenge and can understand his feelings well. You wrap the body in linen, dig a hole in the woods, and place the body in it. You lay a couple of his tools and other personal belongings you found in the wagon next to him. You wish there was more you could do for him. You continue on.
Dobra. Zapiszmy sobie i wrócimy tutaj za chwilę. Dla was minęło pewnie chwilę, dla mnie minęło niestety troszkę dłużej, no ale wracamy do gry. I tutaj był, tak, tu był kupiec i teraz ruszamy dalej, tak.
You come across an orchard next to a farmstead and surrounded by several fields of wheat. You don't see anyone working in the fields, but there's a young man lying under an apple tree. He has his legs.
Zapytamy go.
Excuse me, but we're looking for a group of mercenaries. Have they passed by here?
The young man is startled. He must have nodded off. He looks around anxiously. When he sees you, the fear disappears from his face and is replaced by curiosity. It seems to you that the man is sizing you up.
And if I answer, what's in it for me?
A. Nie będziemy mu płacić. Zachowasz, no grozić mu nie chcemy. Też można zapytać gospodarza, można spróbować w ten sposób.
If you can't help us, we'd be happy to ask the owner of the farmstead. We'll just tell him that the man sleeping in the shade of the orchard sent us. What do you think?
The man seems to size you up, and then a crooked smile spreads across his face.
All right, you caught me. The people rode northwest. But please don't tell Father Mullen.
There's no reason for that if you told the truth. So, northwest, you say?
You continue on your journey, while the lazy laborer sinks back into the grass.
No ładnie, ładnie.
The first thing you... Boindil draws his axes, and Boendal his raven's beak.
Something's not quite right here.
Wejdźmy do
You walk
wioski.
on until you reach the village square. Without a word, men enter the square from the left and the right, cutting off your way. You recognize the leader of the group of mercenaries, looking you over with a satisfied expression. Standing next to him is a frail man with greying hair, who doesn't seem able to cope with the situation. He tries several times to say something, but can't find the right words. Before you have the chance to say anything, the leader of the men calls loudly so that they can all hear.
That's them! Murderers! Come here, dwarf killer!
Are you denying your terrible deed? You were seen murdering poor old Mort, one of your kind in cold blood.
The old man points unnecessarily to the leader of the mercenaries.
No to raczej nie przejdzie, bo tutaj raczej nie było coś takiego, bo to nawet znane. To w sumie brzmi logicznie.
So apparently you saw us committing murder, but you didn't intervene? And then you overtook us and only set a trap for us now and here, several days' journey from the place where it happened. Your story doesn't seem to make much sense.
We knew that the good people of Clinton would stand by us in confronting you. Mort was well known and respected around here.
But how did you know that we would come to Clinton of all places? If you were really tracking us, that wouldn't have been possible. But if you, on the other hand, were the ones being tracked, then it would have been easy for you to steer us into this trap.
He does have a point, Medlin. Why did you...
The village elder stops mid-sentence as the leader of the mercenaries draws his sword. The village elder turns from the mercenary to look at you, and then gives his men a signal to withdraw.
Ciekawe.
Watch out for the archers.
A jak teraz zapewne ceniłby koncensor muzyki? O. Dobra. Dobra, czy kogoś mamy z tyłu? Wieśniaków, ale oni raczej nam nie zagrażają. Dobra, to lecimy. O, jest pierwszy przeciwnik. Dobra. W ten sposób. Ty. W ten sposób. Ty. W ten sposób. Jeszcze raz. Jeszcze raz. A, strzelają do mnie skubańce stąd. Dobra. And I went and past the dest. Dobra, schowajmy się tu. Ej, no strzelacie przez drzwi. Znaczy przez to. Nie no, muszę się wycofać. Tu są wieśniacy. Spróbujmy tędy. Ała. Niedobrze, że ten.
Put up a fight. Huh? Yeah. Yeah. End it.
No, atakuj go. Wstaniesz? Nie walczymy w tej sekundzie. Szkoda, że nie mogę go jakoś podnieść. No nic. A ile ich jeszcze zostało? 5. No to 5 powinniśmy dać radę. O, tak i tak. W ten sposób.
I can't do that yet. He hardly put up a fight.
Zostało jeszcze 3. Znaczy co? Gdzieś tu jest jeszcze jeden? A, tu na dole.
Yes?
Dobra, idź na dół, wykończ go.
Understood.
Who's next? What is it? Yes, yes! Huzzah!
Uh-huh.
Yeah! And what now?
No i super.
The last of the mercenaries falls to the ground, but Boindil is still in the frenzy of battle. You and Boendal have to physically restrain him until he comes to his senses. Otherwise, you'd have stormed the houses to find more adversaries. You walk up to the body of the mercenaries' leader and search his pockets. You soon find something. A letter.
An anonymous client seeks dwarf skulls cleanly cut, shorn, and put into jars with honey. 1,000 gold coins will be paid for each skull. Khan, Bounty Hunters Guild Master.
Bounty hunters. Hunting for dwarves. Despicable.
No.
You hold the letter aloft so that everyone can see it.
Look, citizens of Clintel, proof that these men are the killers. They are bounty hunters hunting for dwarves.
The village elder comes out of one of the houses, flanked by other villagers. You ignore their weapons, as well as their sinister expressions, and hand over the letter.
It would seem you are telling the truth. And you only killed those who deceived us. I thank you for this.
The village elder signals to a woman, and a few moments later, she brings you food and a bag of gold.
Take this in thanks for your actions.
No i super. No i super, dobra. Ale to, co się wydarzy już w następnym części, zobaczymy w następnym odcinku. Za dziś jednak chciałbym wam bardzo podziękować. No i do następnego. Mówił do was Runiczny. Trzymajcie się ciepło. Cześć!